Hey there, welcome to Wyckoff Technical Analysis for Bitcoin. And last week we talked about Bitcoin was about to get into another swing again, and just yesterday it did climb quite significantly over, like comparing to the previous couple of days. So uh, why I'm saying in the title that it has been like rejected by a hidden resistance, because when we look at this weekly chart over here, there is no specific sign of like strong resistant line over here. It's just basically the peak of the upthrust of the distribution if it's the blue scenario, while we can't fully eliminate the yellow scenario over here. So when we get to the daily chart, we'll look at the hidden resistance line over here. So back to this point, previously we put in asking, is it going to be an LPSY over here? The price did climb, and if it really returns to retest the key level of 104K, then this will become true for an LPSY last point of supply. If it doesn't, if it really continues to climb, even though there's a resistance line over here, this light blue upward channel was when the price climbed between March all the way to mid-August. So that's currently another resistance besides the hidden resistance line. So if it really climbs towards that point, then this won't be the case. And not only that, but also if it really climbs above this point, these bunch of candles, that means it's probably the yellow scenario playing out. So that's where or how tricky it is for Bitcoin. And if I turn on the Bollinger Band Curtain squeeze, we can see obviously the bottom, this staircase line, the purple one, if you're new to this, is getting very close to the orange, and the top line is coming down as well. So a squeeze may happen probably in a week or two time if it really trades sideways continue. Then, which is highly possible because, like I said, there's a hidden resistance plus this purple key level over there, so it can definitely trade sideways for a couple of weeks. There's no pressure for it to go up or go down, given the market in the market there's no particularly good or bad news. A lot of speculation has been digested already. So not until it hits somewhere near this pink edge, like it's another upward channel, that's the bigger channel besides this blue one. So this one started almost from the very beginning since the distribution cycle, this pink box. So when the swing happens, that will probably push the price to test some of these support lines, assuming it's going to swing towards the downside. However, if you are still very confident and think it's bullish, when the Bollinger Band Curtain squeeze happen and it continue to trade sideways to gather momentum, that may be the case when this eventually breaks to the upside to somewhere around 140K or even 150K. But that needs a strong reason. Say if, I don't know, the Fed is really cutting rates, or other central banks also cut rates, and then those news can be sold to everybody that it's sign for a bigger move for Bitcoin again. So depending on your view to what's coming out in the near future in terms of news, because that's what fuels the movement of Bitcoin, then you can decide which side you are buying to. Obviously, the chance of going downwards is still there. Whether this is the upthrust of the distribution or just an upthrust, it can eventually come down to show a sign of weakness at somewhere around mid 70K. Okay, so enough big picture. It's still an uncertainty because both volume and all these indicators even though it seems like it's at the end of the distribution cycle, it can last for a longer while before it really drops. So obviously we haven't eliminated the chance of this one. Though this, if you really want me to put a percentage, I would probably say it's 20%. This one we don't really like, because people are mostly trying to find out whether it's going up or going down, right? So I would say this is to the downside is more like 70, no, that's 80%. Yep, it's Friday evening, guys. My brain is a bit slow, but let's get to the daily chart. So here we see a couple of things. So first, it reclimbed from these LPSYs and seemed to be heading towards like trying to challenge this bottom line. However, today, well, even yesterday, got rejected from here. So if I enlarge it, that's where it got rejected. You see the wick over here. Basically, there's some selling force from this point pushing the price all the way back to where we are, like where it closed yesterday to be exact, and then where we opened today, and now the price continues to get suppressed. This line I have already drawn in previous sessions, so that's the invisible resistance line over here that I have shared already. I can't remember like for how long I've drawn this line. It's probably there for a couple of sessions already. So you see it's currently being rejected, but depending on how strong this selling force is, like when the volume, this volume bar comes up, there's still 21 hours. If it doesn't, and this red candle remains very like having a very tiny body, then it's not too bad of a news for the bulls, because basically it's only got rejected here, and it seems like it's finding support at the current level if the candlestick remains small, that is, the body. If it turns out to be very deep correction, then that's another story. So be careful with this one, while it seems like it's kind of testing right there. So you can say that's a sign of weakness, but it's lying somewhere between these two sets of sign of weaknesses. I'll still put it here, just that when it really comes down to below the purple, and like somewhere between this yellow dashed line over here and the purple, that's the even clearer sign of weakness, and it's getting close to the bottom edge of the upward channel as well. So that may signal the end of distribution cycle for Bitcoin is probably there. I shared previously, if you missed my session, this climb since March. You see the trajectory going like this, or just this parabola kind of, but then now it seems like it's flattening, so that may mean the momentum dying down, and eventually it may go this way. So just to make like some visualization for you to see this pattern over here, because if I turn this on and turn this on, you can tell this slope is changing, much like what we had previously. It went up pretty high, and then the slope flattens, and then eventually it comes down. So that's the not finishing of the daily, because we need to check the Bollinger Band current squeeze as well. And what do we find here? The top purple line has already entered the orange, and then the bottom, it's kind of deviating, but then if it trades sideways or come down a little, then the bottom edge will the purple line will get into the orange again, and that's where we've got a new squeeze. So the most recent or the last squeeze was here. You see this shade, this vertical shade behind the chart. Basically the price got squeezed downwards, but then it rebounded strongly. It just basically entered a wild swing over there, while there was a trigger over here that started the first move downwards, and then yeah, people may be buying the dip and push the price back to the 123 or 124K again, but then the next move is even crazier downwards. So when a squeeze happens, it doesn't necessarily mean it's one-sided movement very quickly. It can be like a swing, but then eventually it's still towards that direction. There was another squeeze over here. That's when it squeezed the price downwards, but then it swung back up to where we were during mid-July. So now we are getting closer to another squeeze again. This time, if it really stays above, like near the top edge of the channel, the chance of it swinging downwards would be higher. So be careful with this one, even if you are like very bullish always. Remember, you know what it is, your stop loss. So thanks for joining me for the Bitcoin session today. See you in the next session.